All right, so the objective for this lesson is that you'll be able to solve two-step equations. So this is really the only notes for this section. The rest of the pages I have are examples. We've learned about solving one-step equations where you added or subtracted something to both sides, or you multiplied or divided something to both sides. The only thing you need to know for two-step equations is that the first step will always be to add or subtract something to both sides, and the second step will always be to multiply or divide. So for the problems that we're going to do today, your first step should always be to add or subtract. Second step should be to multiply or divide. So let's look at some examples. The first example here, 2x plus 3 equals negative 9. Again, I think it's important that you step back and realize what it is exactly that we're trying to do. There is some number out there, one and only number, that I can plug in here for x, so that when I multiply it times 2 and then add 3 to it, my answer will be negative 9. So the whole point of this exercise is trying to figure out what is that magical number that I can plug in here, so that when I multiply 2 to it and add 3, it comes out to negative 9. So again, we're always looking at the side of the equation that has the variable. So we're looking at this side of the equation. We have a 2 we have to get rid of, and we have a 3 we have to get rid of. The 2, hopefully you see that when we get rid of the 2, it's 2 times x, so we're going to be dividing by 2. To get rid of the 3, it's plus 3, so we're going to do the opposite and subtract 3 from both sides. So the first page of the note said, let's look back, adding or subtracting is the first step. So what are we going to do first on this problem? We're going to get rid of the 3. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. So 3 minus 3 is 0, so that goes away. Negative 9 minus 3 is negative 12. But don't forget, we still have the 2x here, so we got to bring that down. So now we have 2x equals negative 12. So to get rid of the plus 3, I did the opposite, minus 3, and it left me with 2x equals negative 12. So now it's just a one-step equation. So we got to get rid of the 2. Again, we already talked about the fact this is 2 times x, so we have to do the opposite and divide both sides by 2. 2 over 2 is 1, so that's going to go away, and I'm left with x equals negative 6. So by doing these two steps, we found what the magical number was that I can plug in here for x. So now the next part is to check that. Let's see if that really works. Let's plug negative 6 in for x and see if 2 times negative 6 plus 3 is really equal to negative 9. If it is, then we know we got the right answer. So I'm going to rewrite the problem here. And now I'm just going to plug in the negative 6 for x. So 2 times negative 6 plus 3 equals, hopefully, negative 9. You have 2 times negative 6 plus 3. You got to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, PEMDAS. So that tells us that we do multiplication and division before we do addition and subtraction. So that means we're going to multiply 2 times negative 6 next. We're going to get negative 12 plus 3. Negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9, which that's what we want it to be equal to. So we got the right answer. We found the magic number that will work in here. There's only one of them, and we just found it. So I rewrite my answer, x equals negative 6. It's as simple as that. It's all of the stuff that we learned for one-step equations, just putting it together into 2 steps. And it's not anything new, it's just a matter of learning what order you do them in. So let's look at another example. Negative 3x minus 6 equals 12. So again, I'm looking at this side of the equation where the variable is. I need to get rid of the negative 3 and then get rid of the minus 6. So the question is, which one do I get rid of first? I've got to add or subtract to both sides first, so we're going to get rid of the minus 6 first by doing the opposite and adding 6. Minus 6 plus 6 is 0. 12 plus 6 is 18. Don't forget about the negative 3x, so I bring that down. And again, now I have a one-step equation. Negative 3x equals 18. Negative 3 times x, so I do the opposite and divide by negative 3. Negative 3 over negative 3 is 1. So now I'm left with x equals 18 divided by negative 3, which is negative 6. So again, the whole point of this was, what is the magical number that I can plug into x that I can multiply a negative 3 times it, then subtract 6, and it'll be equal to 12. So I did this work and found out the magical number is negative 6. Now I need to make sure that that is really the correct answer. So I'm going to plug in negative 6 for x. So now I have negative 3 times negative 6 minus 6. Do the multiplication again first because of, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18 minus 6. 18 minus 6 is 12, which is what it was supposed to be equal to. So we got the right answer. The magical number is negative 6. My answer is x equals negative 6. Next problem. X divided by 3 minus 9 equals negative 1. So there's some number out there that I can divide by 3 and then subtract 9 and I will get negative 1. What is that number? What goes here? I got to add or subtract first. Hopefully by this point you're yelling at your computer, add 9, Mr. Bywater, add 9. Well, okay, I will add 9. So minus 9 plus 9 is 0. Negative 1 plus 9 is 8. So now I have x divided by 3 equals 8. One-step equation again. X divided by 3, so I do the opposite and multiply by 3. 3 over 3 is 1, so that goes away. 8 times 3 is 24. So the magical number is 24. So according to this answer, 24 divided by 3 minus 9 is equal to negative 1. So let's check and see. This is really the great thing about these type of problems, is that you can make sure that you have the right answer. There's a check. A lot of the stuff we do, there's no way to check your answer. You do the work, you hope you did it right, and then you wait for me to grade it. This one, you can grade it yourself. If you do the check and do it properly, you're going to know if you got the right answer. So I'm taking the 24, I'm plugging it in for x. 24 divided by 3 minus 9 hopefully is equal to negative 1. Again, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, division comes before subtraction. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So now I have 8 minus 9. 8 minus 9 is negative 1. That's what I wanted it to be equal to, so I have the right answer. So my answer is x equals 24. One last example, and then we'll be done. I put this in here to kind of confuse you. Hopefully it won't. Negative x divided by 4 plus 3 is equal to negative 2. So what is the magical number that I can plug in here so that when I make it negative and then divide it by 4 and then add 3 to it, it will be equal to negative 2? Addition and subtraction again is always first, so opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. Plus 3 minus 3 is 0. I'm left with negative x over 4 equals negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. So this is the part where I said I tried to trick you. I put the negative in front of the x. So it's divided by 4, so I know I need to multiply. But do I multiply by negative 4 or positive 4? That's the question. And to answer that question, I'm going to give you another question. Is negative 1 over 2 the same thing as 1 over negative 2? Are those the same thing? Okay, so if you want to find out, take your calculator and do negative 1 divided by 2 and see what you get. and then take 1 divided by negative 2 and see what you get. In both cases, you should get negative 0.5. So really, these two things are the same. So does it matter if I put the negative here or here? No. So I try to confuse you by putting the negative on the x, but since they're the same thing, you have the power to put the negative on the 4. So now I ask you, what do I multiply both sides by? Negative 4 or positive 4? The answer is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive 1. That's why I needed this to be negative, so that I'd get rid of the negatives over here. 2 negatives make a positive, so those just go away. I'm left with x equals positive 20. Negative 5 times negative 4. So the magic number is 20. Let's check and make sure. So negative x over 4 plus 3 equals negative 2. So my answer says that if I plug in a 20 in here, so I'm taking 20, plugging it in here, make it negative, then divide it by 4 and add it to 3, it should equal negative 2. So let's see. Negative 20. Why is it negative? Because there was a negative sign here. I bring in a positive 20. There's a negative sign, so it becomes negative 20. Plus 3 hopefully is equal to negative 2 if we did this correctly. Again, do the division before the addition. PEMDAS. Negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. Plus 3 is hopefully equal to that. Negative 5 plus 3 is in fact negative 2, which is what it's supposed to be equal to. So I know I have the right answer, which was x equals 20. So that's the end of this lesson. If you missed anything, back it up. Watch it again. This is Mr. Bywater out. My daughter's been watching me do this notes. Do you want to say anything, Hallie? Well, it's going on YouTube. You could be famous. You want to say anything?
Nope, I'm sick.
Oh, she says, nope, I'm sick.
Cole says hi.
Oh, Cole says hi. Okay, Hallie says she's sick. Cole says hi. Either way, this is Mr. Bywater.
I'm saying hi to Jacob.
Mr. Bywater out.